Ruth Cadbury.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, it's an honour to be re-elected for the fourth time to the redrawn seat of Brentford and Isleworth, and also today to follow such impressive maiden speeches, and particularly that of the Honourable Member for the two cities in whose constituency we all work. After 9 years sitting in opposition, it's a pleasure to be on this side of the chamber and to support this government's legislative programme that brings hope, opportunity and change for my constituents and for the country at last. I'm going to focus my response to the King's speech on the government's ambitious proposals around transport policy, an area I've long been involved with, serving on the Transport Select Committee for 5 years and chairing 5 transport APPGs, but also because transport was brought up regularly on the doorsteps in this last election. The theme of today's debate is economy, welfare and public services. Effective transport policies are essential to the change we need to see in all those 3 areas, as well as in addressing our climate crisis. So I'm pleased to see the bold and ambitious plan set out by my right honourable friend, the member for Sheffield Heeley, and her team to do just this. For accessing work, education, health services, for supplying our manufacturing and retail sectors and supporting our well-being and family life, decent transport choices are essential, and nowhere are these more needed than in the new communities that will be built if the traffic on the roads to and around them is not to grind to a halt. Whether in city, town or countryside, we need the full range of transport options. Options that are affordable, accessible, efficient and environmentally sound. And particularly on buses, I'm delighted that with the Better Buses Bill, the government are going to end the ideological and control-freakery policy of banning local authorities and local government from running their own municipal bus companies. These were killed off by the Thatcher government in a bout of ideological rage, with only London retaining a regulated bus service. The rest of England should have what we have in London: regular services through day, evening and weekends, simple fare structures, high standards of safety, accessibility and passenger information. These are being developed by Greater Manchester's Mayor, Andy Burnham, and I look forward to seeing local authorities of all parties, I'm sure, following his example. Secondly, rail travel. As an alternative to driving, rail travel has to be reliable if we want to cut road congestion and air pollution. I'm therefore delighted to see the bills creating Great British Railways and bringing train operators into public ownership. This is essential for a simplified and unified rail system focusing on improving passenger services while getting value for the taxpayer. We all have constituents. In fact, there are many members of this House who have terrible experiences of cancelled trains, of having to sit on the floor for hours despite booking a seat. I also know that we will now see a government and a department that doesn't try to use transport as a cudgel in our culture wars, or as a crude electoral hammer, trying to override local authorities who had wanted to introduce sensible measures to encourage cycling and walking. In conclusion, Mr. Deputy Speaker, transport is at the heart of the challenge of national renewal that we have set ourselves, kick-starting economic growth, boosting jobs and living standards, and building sufficient homes in sustainable communities. Of course there are challenges ahead, not least in further growing capacity in our overloaded rail network. While I welcome the plan to improve east-west connectivity across the north of England, however, funding further increases in rail capacity is unfortunately currently financially unsustainable until we see the economic growth the Chancellor, I know, is working on. And aviation expansion is only acceptable if it passes the 4 tests that we set ourselves in opposition, which are cutting CO2 emissions, overcoming local environmental impacts, providing regional benefits across the UK, and on deliverability. I know that the new Secretary of State and the new ministerial team will work across our travel and transport sectors and work together to improve transport connections that benefit everyone and benefit our country as a whole. Thank you.